Everybody, welcome back to another show, Rework It, another of the Rework It shows. My name is Jesús Ramirez, and with me is my co-host, Kladi from Printmysoul. How are you, Kladi?
Hi, everybody. I'm doing very well. How's it going? Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining us in the chat, talking about the chat. If you're watching from YouTube, make sure that you head over into behance.net/live, behance.net/live, so that we can see your comments. We cannot see the YouTube comments, but we can see the comments on Behance, and I already see a lot of familiar faces here with us. We have Sam Peterson helping out in the chat. Hey, Sam, good to see you. Sean, RV, Steve, let's see, Megan, Greg, thank you so much for joining us. General Kenobi, good to see you. Laura, Mercurial, thank you for joining us as well. So yeah, we have a lot of friendly and familiar faces, and it's so awesome that you're here with us. Let us know in the chat where you are watching from. I am in the San Francisco Bay Area. And Kladi, where are you today?
I'm in Manchester, UK. And
Manchester.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and it's 4 p.m. here. So good afternoon for everybody that is from this side of the world, and good morning to your side of the world and to you.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending where in the world you're watching from. And yeah, let's get started with today's show. Kladi, why don't we let everyone know what Rework It is all about?
Absolutely. Let me jump into the website and I'll be able to give you more information about Rework It and how to take part to this stream. So I usually jump into your computer, so I want to make sure that we jump into mine right now. Perfect. Here we are. Right. So everybody, if it's the first time that you join, if today is the first time that you're joining Rework It, make sure to head on iamkladi.com/reworkit, this page right here, and you'll be able to submit your design by clicking on the button that says submit your design. And all you have to do is to fill in the form with your email, your files, your name, and most importantly, your Behance profile, so we can give you a big shout out and look at your portfolio and show you some love during Rework It, because that's the beauty of Rework It. Rework It, it's about you. It's about our lovely community. It's about growing together. And I know I said that at every single stream here at Adobe Live is a safe space to learn and grow together. We have fun. We look at everybody's work. We learn by sharing tips and techniques. And I had a few questions in the past regarding the submission. Someone was asking, hey Kladi, I'm not done with my work. I feel it's not finished. Can I still submit it for Rework It? Absolutely. That's a fantastic opportunity to get either me or Jesús to give you an idea on how to finish your product or your project, and maybe just to get a different set of eyes. And by the way, when me and Jesús rework anybody's work, that doesn't mean that that's the right or wrong way of doing it. That's the beauty of learning together, is just having a different opportunity or a different workflow of approaching your project in a different way. So that's the beauty of learning, having fun, and sharing ideas. I always learn from your Rework It, Jesús. I'm like literally catching up on Photoshop myself as well.
Likewise.
And the very last thing here, of course, if you do have any particular issues or clarification or questions that you want to pass on to us, you also have the opportunity to place them in the comment box here on the form. All you will have to do afterwards is to click on submit. And if by whatever reason your file is maybe too big for this form, you have few options. One, to send us a JPEG, and then we'll be able to get back to you and send you an uploader file, or you can simply use a Dropbox link or a WeTransfer link here into the comment box. So that's another opportunity for you to share your entire file, maybe a package of file if you're working and in design. And if you've been here before, you should know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So yeah, that's Rework It. And what should we do today? So we start in where we left yesterday?
Sure, why not? Let's pick up right where we left off yesterday.
fantastic. So I'm gonna jump into Illustrator, and by all means, if there is any question in the chat, feel free to interrupt me. I'm super happy to participate and to reply to any questions.
There was actually a funny comment that I wanted to read to you. It said, Kladi, I was going to print my soul, but it came out pixelated. That was RB.
Sorry, I was literally drinking some water. First of all, RB, what's up? Where are you and where you been? Yesterday we were, sorry, it's this little sidetrack. We were I'm hosting today, and I was also hosting yesterday, the lovely Andreas working in InDesign and Photoshop. And RB, we were like missing you so much. I know Steve was sharing some love to you. So yeah, next time that you print your soul, make sure that you check out if it's RGB or CMYK. But yeah, that's a funny conversation started, and I'm sorry, I was literally drinking some water when you read it, so that must haven't looked that nice. But yeah, let's get started. And we can see Vikram in the chat as well. It was here yesterday. But yes, let's get started. So yesterday we were having a look at Nassim file. We were talking about recoloring. That was his main concern regarding this project. And I went through one particular way of recoloring. If you've missed it, don't worry, you can find the replay just below us here on Behance or on YouTube. You're gonna be able to see the technique that we had a look at yesterday. So we talked about the color theme panel, and just because I don't like to not show and just let me show you where the panel is, and then again you can watch yesterday video in order to learn more about it. So as every panel in the majority of the Creative Cloud apps, whenever you see any instructor, me or Sus or anybody else working on any Creative Cloud apps, and you're looking for a panel and you're like, why this is not on my workspace? Well, the window menu is the place where you want to head. So choose window and then head into color themes in order to be able to bring to life the amazing color themes panel, which will allow you to browse for color theme. And of course, from here, you're also going to be able to add these swatches to your swatches panel. That's what we done yesterday, and recolor your artwork based on these new swatches. Now, I want to show you, and that's a way in which you can work in app. That means that everything that you're doing is actually happening in Illustrator. You're not going to have any issues in terms of getting distracted, because everything is happening right in front of your eyes within Illustrator. But if you do want, oops, it looks like I just moved my window here. Although it's afternoon, I think I need a coffee today, so I'm just like literally moving the document around. But if you do want to learn more about color, and like Nassim, that's perhaps something that is that you just want to get more information about, I want to show you color.adobe.com. That's part of one of the amazing service that is part of the Creative Cloud subscription. You know that you have fonts.adobe.com. We have stock.adobe.com and so many other wonderful resources at Adobe, also with other apps like Capture. But the one that we're going to be focusing on today is Color. With Color, you're going to be able to create your own color palette by using this different color spot. As you can see, you can click and drag any of the color, and then the other one will move around automatically. And you can set the relationship within this harmony, which is called usually harmony rule, here on the left side. So from here, you're going to be able to choose between an analogous, monochromatic, triad, complementary, split complementary, and so on. And if you don't know what those are, the best way is to experiment. Don't be afraid to experiment. This is completely free. It's just there for you to have fun and play with colors. You will see right away that when we jump into a monochromatic rule, harmony rule, we will have different tone and different shades of the same color. So in this case, all we have to do is to then move our color spot around, and you will see that all the other colors will move as well. And something that is very important, that I think it deserves attention here on color, is the fact that you are going to be able to use this color code and then copy and paste them. Maybe if you are working on a website, on a branding or something on any other project, you will be able to literally take advantage of the Xcode that is here under every color, and you also have the RGB value as well detailed at the bottom. So this is the very first thing. You can create your color palette. And don't forget, I'm going to go through different steps. Every time that you create, explore, or choose a color palette, you'll be able to save it right away into your Creative Cloud libraries. And that means that the color palette will be available for you right away, anywhere, at any time, throughout your Creative Cloud apps. So if I save this particular color palette and I add it to one of my library and even share it with Jesús or anyone else in my team, you can have access, and the entire team can have access right away from the moment in which you add it to the library. I saw a question, Jesús, but maybe it's a question more for you. Or me. Does Illustrator have color themes like in Photoshop? I believe that the color themes is different, but I'm gonna go ahead and open Photoshop and just show you. Jesús, maybe you wanna help me with this?
And yeah, so Sean, are you talking about like the color themes that you can create in like Capture, or like specifically the
because the panel is different.
Swatches panel, or what are you referring to exactly in that?
The color theme panel is different, and that's the why I was highlighting the one in Illustrator. As you can see, Illustrator color theme panel is the condensed version of color.adobe.com, and that's why I'm mirroring the website to show you.
So you also have under if you go into oh my God, is it if you go into Window and extensions in Photoshop, then there's the Adobe color theme. So that might be what he's referring to. In Photoshop Windows, Window extensions color. So
yeah. So that's exactly exactly the same. That's exactly the same. So live and learn. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sean. So again, I'm opening Photoshop. I know usually I contain myself within Illustrator, but yes. So the Adobe Color Themes panel mirror exactly each other. We have 3 tabs: the Create, Explore, and My Themes. Like we seen yesterday, the Explore tab will allow you to use a keyword and narrow down your color palettes, add it to your swatches, and add it to your library. And I'm gonna go back again into Illustrator and show you that that's exactly as it is. I'm gonna zoom in so you can see the panel a little bit better. We have the 3 tabs: Create, Explore, and My Themes. And once we head back to our color.adobe.com, we can actually see that Create, Explore, and of course we have more option on the website because it's a broader version, while the panel is a condensed version in app. So the difference is, just to recap real quick, if you want to work in app and to stay focused and you just want to focus on your project, then you will have to the best option perhaps it will be just to go under Window, Color Themes in Illustrator. If you're working in Photoshop, it's going to be Window, Extensions, and then add Adobe Color Themes. And you'll be able to access these options within the apps, and that will allow you to stay focused and concentrate on your project. Well, if your objective is to learn more about colors and learn about color theories, but even more, let me show you, there is a very new tool which is wonderful, is the accessibility tool. This tool will allow you to test color and color palettes in order to see if they are safe for colorblind. So it's actually called a colorblind safe intent. And when we go here and to learn a little bit more about it, what you will see is that colorblind safe mode will detect color conflicts that create confusions for people with color blindness. So I think that that's such a beautiful, I love everything that is about accessibility. I like to talk about accessibility. I can see Norsh saying Cooler. I think that's the old name of the website. I think it used to be called Cooler. Yes. And Sean is saying Photoshop as Adobe Color Theme looks like color.adobe.com. Exactly. So they mirror each other. The Adobe Color Theme shown both in Illustrator and in Photoshop is a condensed version of color that allows you to work and in app and focus on your project. But if you just want to focus on color, then the best way is to go to color.adobe.com and take full advantage of all the amazing services that Adobe has provided for you. Not to forget also the extract theme and extract gradient, which are mind-blowing. I showed you before the extract theme. I'm now going to show you the extract gradient. Once you head to color.adobe.com and then click on extract gradient, all you have to do is to click on select a file or simply drag and drop an image right into this little square. And I'm going to go ahead and see if we can find an image. I know that there is an image of me jumping somewhere here on the desktop. Here it is. It's me at Adobe Max many years ago, maybe three years ago. And as you can see, right away, as soon as I select my image from the computer, and it can be a screenshot, it can be a photo that you have taken with your phone, Adobe Color will pick up colors to create a gradient. But what if this is not the color theme that I'm looking for? Well, that's super easy. All you have to do is to click and drag and move this color spot on the areas that you would like to use as a selection. So maybe I can use the red, and I can use the pink or the purple, whatever you wish, and then the orange. And here we go. In just a few seconds, we created a gradient that is with the same colors that belongs to the image. This will allow you, this is a great tool if you are perhaps working on a branded project and you're looking to create assets that are on brand. This will allow you to use the exact colors that belong to other imageries or other marketing materials of a specific brand. And the beautiful result will be that when you're going to compare and use any other design next to your image with the color that you lifted thanks to the beautiful service of color.adobe.com, this will allow you to have the exact color palette, and by doing so it's gonna look on brand, and you're just going to be your design is going to be consistent with the entire picture. And I can see Stoney saying that's really neat. It's like fantastic. And Steve, yes, you're right. Much like Capture, that's exactly what Capture does. The difference is that Capture is an app available on your mobile and on your tablets and also on Photoshop. But maybe, I don't know, Sus, if you want to talk about that during your segment in Photoshop. So I don't have to
definitely.
jump. Perfect. I'm going to leave that to you then. And I can go back into Illustrator in just a second. All you have to do now, so we created our color palette. This is the color that we want to use. In this case, is a gradient. Of course, if we want to extract a theme, we can also just extract a color palette. Let's say this is the color that we like to use. I'm just going to make a change just to show you that. Again, you can make a change like just much as we did before by clicking and dragging the color spot and picking the color of your choice. And then click on the plus icon in order to create a new library dedicated to this project. Ancora con Nassim, because I know that that's the amazing creative that shared the coloring project and they had question about colors. You can also enter tags if you want to publish the color. Now, what is this all about? What does it mean publishing? When you select a particular color theme, you are going to be able to share it with the world, and you're going to be able to allow others to take advantage of the research and the artwork that you're done. Of course, I will suggest to use some of the tags available in order to help other people to retrieve your work when they use the keywords, which is pretty much what we also can do in app. And if you do that, your color palette will also be available in the Adobe Color Theme panel that we saw before in Illustrator and Photoshop. But at this time, I'm not looking to share it. We're just here to learn how it works. If you do want to share it, all you gotta do is to toggle this little icon here, this little toggle on publish to color, and when it's blue, that means that you have decided to publish it to the color library. Perfect. We have created a new library called Nassim. You can also rename the image, so I'm going to call it new color palette. And then all we have to do is to click on save, and we're ready to jump back in Illustrator, and let's see what happens here. Once we open Illustrator and we head to our libraries panel, we can already see that I have a new library called Nassim that I didn't have before. And look what's there, the exact color theme that we leverage from the photo. And that's another way in which we can use them, in which you can use them in your swatches, and use the same technique that we used yesterday to recolor. And if you're wondering how to add this color theme to your color palette, to your swatches panel, let me bring up the swatches panel first, just to show you that happening live. So again, as every other panel, you're gonna find it under Window menu and then Swatches, and every day the Swatches panel will pop up immediately. And I only one color panel here. That's the one that we took from the color themes, the existing color themes from the panel. But how do we add this panel, this palette that we have created inside the swatches? Well, very simple. All you have to do is head to your libraries, the libraries of choice where the palette is stored, and then right click on it. And you can see the first option is add theme to swatches. By doing so, in one click, you will find that selection ready for you to use in your swatches. By the way, you do not need to add the color palette to your swatches in order to use the color. Let me show you what I mean. If I perhaps would like to change the fill color of the cape of this lovely superhero that Nassim has created, all I have to do is to select the graphic element. So literally click on it with the selection key, which is our black arrow here, or by pressing the letter V on your keyboard to activate the selection tool. And then once you have selected the graphic that you would like to recolor, click once on the color that you would like to apply directly in your libraries. So you do not need to add it to your swatches in order to leverage that color. And as you can see, I'm gonna go ahead and click on different colors to show you that by simply clicking inside the different on the color itself, it will allow you to add that and to change the color of the graphic. So why did we apply that to the swatches panel? Well, that's very handy, comes handy if perhaps you want to save the swatches panel in the document, or for example, if you want to do what we were doing yesterday, which is select the graphic with Command A or Control A if you're working on a Windows, and then go under Edit, Edit Colors, and Recolor Artwork. And then what we did yesterday was to jump on the advanced option, and as you can see, the new color palette is sitting there and is ready for you to be used in order to recolor your work. So that's what we done pretty much yesterday, and I'm gonna get out of there because we talked about it. But what if you don't want to jump into the advanced option? What was the first panel that we saw about color? That's quite a new feature. Well, not too new now. I think it was already, it's been nearly 1 year because it's almost time for Max again, about that recolor, the first recolor artwork panel. Let me show you how that works. The first thing that I'm going to do in this case is to bring the image that we were using as an example right now and drag it inside our document. And I'm going to go ahead and close the color theme by clicking on the X because we don't need it anymore. If you do need a panel, you don't need necessarily to close it. You can collapse it by clicking on these double arrows here on the side and then just simply move it away. So you have more space inside your document. So another way of recoloring. What we've seen so far is how to search for color themes, how to search for color rules and color harmonies, how to leverage color from your images. But how can we work faster and smarter? Let's say that this superhero needs to be on the same website where these images of me jumping is. How do we make sure that we align the color palettes of these two elements in just a click? Well, that was what the first panel was for. So let's go ahead and click and drag over the little superhero here, which I'm going to call Nassim because, again, that's the name of the artist. And then I'm going to go ahead again and click on Edit and choose Edit Colors and Recolor Artworks. And instead of jumping into the advanced options, we're just going to stop here real quick into this new workspace, which again was introduced, I believe, last year during Max. And we have this new beautiful color theme picker. With the color theme picker, you're going to be able to click on any image, any rasterized image, so a photo, or any other vector graphic. So if that was another vector graphic instead of a photo, you were still going to be able to use this color theme picker to click on it in order to leverage the colors that belong to the image. And again, you're still going to be able to change the prominent colors by clicking and dragging this little slider here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom so you can have a little bit of a better view of this slider. This will allow you to change the prominent color. So for example, let's say that we want to have more green inside and less brown. All you got to do is to click and drag into this little slider and change the distributions of colors just like so. I think that that's a really, really fantastic way of working with colors. You can also work with it and change the brightness of the hue in the color wheel. And you can also, for example, what if you like the distribution of these colors and the relationship between all these colors, but there is not yet the color palette that you're looking for? Well, what I would suggest you to do is to click on this little link icon to link the harmony, and you will see that the link will become like a little chain. So when the chain is with, you know, it looks like a chain, like is united, that means that the colors are tied together. And by doing so, if you click and drag of any of this color, all the other color spot will move together. And as you can see, we can make our little superhero from any other different planet. We can make his skin blue if we want to, or we can take it back on planet Earth, or we can do whatever we want with it. We can, I think purple is a wonderful color for it. But yeah, you got the gist. You can do whatever you want with it by and at the same time respecting the relationships of the color that you originally leveraged that were part of the image. But if you want to break the rule, and for example there is a specific color that really doesn't work with you, and maybe you got a branded color that you want to use, then all you have to do is to click on the link on the little chain in order to unlink the color harmony, and then now you are going to be able to click, drag, and move around just one color at the time. And as you can see here, you're going to redistribute very, very quickly any color that you like in order to find the best way to have your work recolored in just a click. So I think those are all the options that I wanted to show you in terms of exploring colors. Jesús, I know that you're going to show us something fantastic in Photoshop when we were talking about capture. I also want to give a quick shout out because I had in mind to talk about this project today. So I'm still going to give a shout out to the artist that I don't know if he's in the chat right now. Because there was this other lovely work that I wanted to talk about today, but I'm out of time. We're going to have another session in 2 weeks. So I'm definitely going to give you a little bit of a preview right now, although submit, especially I'm looking for InDesign files at the times. If you have a InDesign file that you would like to share, please do it, because I'm really eager to work on some InDesign file. And as I said, Jesús, before passing to Photoshop and to you, I'm just going to go ahead and show the profile of Lisa Fernandez that really kindly showed a beautiful image that hopefully we're going to be working on, which is a minimalistic portrait of Julianne Moore right here. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a follow. Lisa Fernandez Carlson on Behance. So thank you so much for this time. And I think he's getting...
Well, there's one thing
Yeah.
I want to say. We switch over to me. You kept calling what did you keep calling the superhero character?
Nassim.
Because that's the artist name, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I wanted to know from the chat, like, what should we name the superhero? What superhero name should he have?
Oh, that's a really good
Yeah.
question.
So if you don't mind showing it on screen, that way people
Yeah.
could see him one more time, and let us know in the chat what superhero name you would give him. You have any suggestions, Kladi?
Oh, you got me on a spot here. I think to me it's Nassim. Now, like I'm
Well,
tied
that's
to the
his
name.
real name, but what is alter ego?
What is alter ego?
Yeah, Astro Boy. He does
Astro
look like
Boy.
Astro Boy.
Astro
He looks
Boy.
like Astro Boy a little bit.
I think
Super Soul.
Oh, Super Soul, RB, you're so nice. It's
Super
PP.
Soul is actually a good one.
I like PP. I actually found out that there is a character from Disney called Goofy.
Goofy.
And in Italian it's called...
Wait.
It's
It's
called
called what?
People.
So you didn't know what Goofy was or who
Well,
he
I
was?
know what People was. Did you know what People was?
No, I know Goofy. That's his name. You've never. Let us know in the chat if you've seen a Goofy movie. It came out, I don't know, late 90s, mid 90s. It is one of the best movies ever. A Goofy movie.
Right, fantastic. I think we have Vector Boy. I
Oh, Vector
love
Boy's a good
that.
one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Vector Boy. I think that's on point.
JR capital letters, JR lowercase. All right. The
JR.
human grin. The human grin.
That's super
Awesome.
funny. And yes, I will see you later with Andres. Now I'm gonna, of course, we have Jesús Ramirez with Photoshop in just a second. But yeah, I will definitely see you later with that lovely Andres working on InDesign and Photoshop.
See, everybody loves a Goofy movie. See that? RB says Goofy movie's awesome. Caitlin says yes, a Goofy movie. Sam
But
Peterson
it's called
said,
People.
people. How do you say movie in Italian?
Film.
People film. You ever see that movie?
No, I do you know how to say it? Have you ever seen a movie in Italian? I know Jesus is learning Italian, so that's why I'm calling it out on this. Would you know how to say that? Not yet.
Say what? How do I say what?
If you've seen a movie.
Vedo un film.
Yeah, well done. So, Steve, we're getting Jesus to learn Italian as well. Congratulations, very, very nice. Right, so Jesus, if you don't mind, I'm gonna let it pass it to your
switch over to my screen,
and you can give us a little bit of a reminder on how to submit, please, before we get started.
Sure.
So we're gonna say goodbye to Vector Boy. Thank you so much to Nassim.
So that's the name, Vector Boy.
Vector Boy, yes. Vector Boy.
What was the other one? Super Soul?
Super Soul. Let me see.
Captain Wednesday.
Super Soul. Really cool names.
Let me know if you're on my screen now.
I'm about to jump there, and here we are.
Steve wrote, Goofy owns another dog called Pluto. Weird character. That's true. Goofy's a dog, and yet he owns a dog. Anyway, Rework It. This is the show Rework It, of course, where we rework
Where we talk about Disney characters.
We talk about Disney characters, and and you can submit your Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign files. The way to do so is by going into iamkladi.com/reworkit, iamkladi.com/reworkit. I'm sure that Sam will post the clickable link in the chat. And all you need to do is click on this button. From here, you can give us your name, your email, your name, add your files, Behance profile, data consent, and let us know which apps you use to create your project and any specific questions that you may have. Click on submit, and hopefully you can be featured on Rework It. Again, the website is iamkladi.com/reworkit. So this is the file that we have for today, and the artist, and actually, I believe we don't have, and that's another thing, we need to, if you don't have a Behance profile when you submit, feel free to create one and just include the file that you submit to us. That way we could also promote your profile, and then you have a place to showcase your work. The artist is Betty Brooks, and this was her question. This is my work for updating my husband's website. And the newsletter, in the newsletter he writes, which are sent out by PPHP, which is a private investment banking firm. He also puts a newsletter on his website. I convinced them all to change the name and looks, and this is the work. Great. So this is the work that Betty has created. And actually, I clicked away from the chat, so let me bring it back up so I can see what you guys say. Jose Ade Leon says, hey, Jesus. Hey, Jose, how's it going?
Have you seen Sean last comment?
I am Kladi.com/Disney.
And by the way, I was getting confused. Mickey Mouse owns Pluto, not Goofy. You guys are getting me confused.
Yeah, but Goofy comes around and hangs out with all both of them. Anyway, so this is the work that she created, and let me disable the layer so you can see it says not used in here, and then we just have these different layers. That's cool. And in here we have more layers, so nothing that we really need to worry about. Is just stuff that she didn't use. color blue for newsletter. So this is what she did. She took a screenshot of, I'm guessing, some sort of color picker website, so she would know what color she chose for the project. What I would do is, if you're a member of the Creative Cloud, you don't have to go through this process. It's actually much easier to just, select your foreground color, whatever the eyedropper tools, click on it to select the foreground color, and then you can come in here into your libraries panel and then just add foreground color to your library, and there it is. And that syncs with all your Creative Cloud. It syncs with your Creative Cloud account. So no matter if you're looking at Photoshop on the iPad or your laptop or your desktop, you have that color available to you. It's also available to you at assets.adobe.com. So even if you're not in your computer, not signed into you're somebody else's computer, you can go to the website and still get this particular color. So I wouldn't necessarily save it as a layer, as a screenshot, but if it works, it works. But you do have that flexibility of saving it in the Creative Cloud library. So before we move on, something that I think I should mention really quickly is, because you mentioned it earlier, Kladi, is the create from image command, the capture command inside of Photoshop. If you click on this plus icon and click on create from image, it will bring up this window that is taking quite a bit to load for some reason. It usually pops up right away. Oh, it popped up on my other screen. Here it is. And from here, you can create a pattern based on the shapes that are found in the image, and it creates this cool pattern. You can create an actual vector shape, black and white, color theme. So this might be the most useful one, because now I can come in here and select the colors that are found in the actual logo, and I can save these as as a color theme, so that I have access to the actual colors of my logo. There we go. I got them all. Yep, I got them all. I think I have 2 yellows, but that's okay. I'll make one of them black. So anyway, so these are the colors in the design. So I can just save it to my CC library, and I have my color theme for that particular project. And I could have done this with an image. I could also do a gradient. I can select gradients and create a gradient based on the colors that are found in the image. And I can also click and drag and add different colors to the gradient. But that's sort of what you were talking about earlier, Kladi. And now I have this color theme with the colors that are found in the design. Now, I'm assuming that this is basically the document where you have all the items that are going to be part of this design. So instead of just having one single giant canvas like this, what I would recommend is maybe using an artboard. So I can just create an artboard based on, maybe let me just do another artboard here. Oops, sorry, let me undo that. So I can just create an artboard based on the entire thing. So I'm just gonna make one on the, and I know I don't need the entire thing, but I'm just gonna make one out of the entire thing for now. And then what I can do is create other artboards that are smaller. So maybe this is my, where I'm gonna place the logos. So I wouldn't have, that way they're easier to save, easier to manipulate, as opposed to just having them all in one giant document. So let me just select, let me see, I'm trying to go for this.
Susan, I'm going to stop you a second. I'm going to stop you a second for 2 important questions. So one, which is not related to what you're saying, but is important for today. If you have received an email, because I can see Caroline Sarret message, if you received an email saying that your work was going to be featured on Rework It and was asking for your files, but we did not get the file on time, don't worry, keep sending the file, use the uploader that you have received in the email, and place your file in there. And don't worry, you're going to be featured in a future episode. So still use the link. That's totally fine. If you didn't make it for today deadline, that's totally cool. No big deal. Second, Kristen was still confused about where did you get the create from image. So maybe if you just want
from the libraries panel, you can click on the plus icon and select create from image. If you don't have the libraries panel open, you can go into window and select libraries. Perfect. Cool. Any other questions?
And just so before we move forward, Vikram is asking, in the Rework It form, should I keep the link or name in profile name on Behance? If you paste the link, that will be a greater help for us. So we'll make sure that 100% that's the correct link to get to you. But as long as your name is the correct name as it's featured into the URL, that will also be a help. So, long story short, the link will be so much appreciated. Vikram, thank you so much. And Jesus, one more question for you. Would you use a monkey face layer comp for the logos to switch quickly?
Well, the monkey phase that we talked about yesterday for layer comps, would I use layer comps? I mean, I'll take the question seriously. Would I use layer comps for this? I mean, yeah, sure, I could use layer comps, but I think that in this case, I'd rather use artboards, just because I feel that the way that she set up this file, Betty, was to display her work and have all the icons in one cohesive place. So I would rather, in this particular instance, have it all in different artboards. And I mean, what I'm doing here, and I probably will go fast just because we don't have a lot of time, is when you have an artboard selected, I can click on the plus icon and it creates another one. See, that's how I'm just creating all these different artboards. So maybe what I could do is just create enough artboards to, fit my logos like so. And then I can just start dragging those logos in there. So we have the globe, I can put the globe in here. And then I have this plug, I can put the plug in here. And the turbine, here we go. What else do we have? We have the light bulb, put it here. And where is that last one? The drops go here. So maybe this is where I can put, my logos, keep things more organized, obviously rename the artboards. I'm not going to take the time to do that now just because of time constraints, but definitely name your artboards. And we don't need this artboard to be so big. So I'm going to go into the Artboard tool, this one here.
And can you just tell us how to rename the artboard for those of us that we don't know?
Definitely. So if you want to rename your artboard, it's just like renaming a layer. So for example, I don't know, this yellow one here is, oh, this is another thing. I put the artboards too close. So let me show you. See how there's an artboard name on top? I put the artboards way too close on these, in this setup here. So I'm just going to just give them a little bit more space so that you could also see the artboard name. There we go. Anyway, there you go. That looks pretty good. And actually, now that I'm seeing this, I don't know if I like how I initially set it up, just because now I changed the, the way the artboards are laid out. So actually, let me just now take the time to redo that. That way they make more sense. I don't know. It just looks nicer. I don't know. This is just so that it looks better.
You're reworking your own rework it.
I'm reworking my own rework it. Yeah, just because now I realized that I didn't like the way it was laid out. But this particular part really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how I lay it out, as long as it's laid out and it looks, it's easier to work with. And something like this, and then this one I can just even move it more to the center. I don't know, something like that. And then I'm going to clear the guides because I don't need them anymore. Clear guides. Cool. So this is my working file now. You were asking about how to rename an artboard. So for example, this one here is artboard number 5. I can just come in here and call it drops, and see now it says drops on there. Artboard number 6 is light bulb. So light bulb. Anyway, so you can keep renaming all the different artboards. And also when you want to save just this particular artboard, the contents, you can just right click and quickly export it as a PNG or export it as something else. So that just helps you save that particular artboard much faster. So the first part of reworking this file is to organize it. And now we're going to work a little bit on the design, because I have a few thoughts, and I'd love to hear your opinions as well, Kladi. I see a question in the chat. In one case is what you use layer comps. I wouldn't use, I would personally use layer comps in situations where I want to show different states of a design. The perfect example is if you're designing, say, an app interface where you tap on a particular button and something happens, and that's when I would use layer comps, just to show the different states of a particular thing. Another example would be, maybe you're working on a particular design and you're trying to decide between multiple background images, so then you can have the same text and logos and all that, but the background changes. That could be another situation where different types of mockups, exactly. But yeah. Cool. So the next thing that I think we need to work on in here, this is what I would do at least. I think that the colors of the logos are all over the place. I wouldn't necessarily see, because I like this very first one, right? And my assumption is that this is an asset that was downloaded from probably Adobe stock, because I see one of these cloud icons here that I don't have access to, and everything else is a vector graphic that was created by Betty, except for this one. So my assumption is that you took this design and then you created the other ones based around it. So and also it's the only one that looks different. If you notice, this one, it has white in the background and the foreground is a particular color. So essentially 2 colors. And some of these other ones, for example, this green one, the turbine, has 3 colors. This one has 3 colors as well. And also there's no white in any of them. So my assumption is that you took this one and then you just created these based on that roughly. I kind of like the simplicity and the minimalistic approach as on this one, and not so much on these others, because I just think there's too many colors: black, green, and yellow, blue, green, and yellow. So I would probably just go and just mimic this design on all the others using those specific colors, and also include that stroke. So for example, if we go into artboard number 4, which is the plug, and I guess I call it plug, that way we know what it is. Also, I noticed that you created a smart object. I don't think creating a smart object is necessary in this case. So I would convert it to layers. And now I have this group that's called plug. I don't even need the group. So I'm just going to get those layers out of the group and get rid of the group, just so that we have the two layers. See that? So I would just keep them as regular layers. No need to turn them into smart objects in this case, in my opinion. So what I'm going to do now is make sure that we have this design going across all the other designs. So for example, the background will be white in this case. And also, oops, actually, I don't want to do that just yet. Let me bring this over here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to copy the color just so I have it. But I am going to make it, white. And then since this is the vector, I'm going to select the vector tool and just select, I think this is the same color. Yeah. Select that color as the stroke, and I can just increase the stroke until it matches, the other stroke. I don't know. It must be around 30. We'll just say it's 30 pixels. Obviously, you can be more precise when you're working in your project. And then this inner part can also be that same color. So I would just make all the other, actually, that didn't become the same color. It looks about the same, but it's not really the same. Let me try it here. There we go. That's the same color. So what I would do is I would just follow that same design across the board, and I think you will have a more cohesive design. I don't know if you agree with that, Kladi, or you have any thoughts on that. But I just think that having a lot of colors makes the design too busy and not aesthetically pleasing, at least in my view.
Totally. So the way that I will, I agree with what you're saying, but the way that I will perhaps justify this choice is the fact that nowadays attention is the resource that we don't have. So really what you're trying to capture with a branding, with any image and with any graphic assets, you're trying to capture people attention. And when you start to bombard them with many different colors, many different typefaces, or anything that is it comes together to your eyes as a different elements, like in this case Jesus was pointing out different color palettes, you're just basically getting that attention not smaller and smaller. So there is less likely that people will remember your brand, and that also can create confusions and make your logo less memorable. If you think about it, the biggest and worldwide brand have one single color. The more that there are usually justified is at least 2, and then you can have variation maybe on a black and white, or maybe seasonal, maybe something for summer and something for winter. But I completely agree with you. Try to grab attention and make your brand memorable by using a restricted color palette of 1 or 2 colors.
Yeah. See, like, and now I'm trying to figure out what color am I going to make this one, because in reality you have the company has, full green, red, blue, yellow, and technically black, so 5. And then we have 5 icons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so then maybe I can make these drops black, and then this one, the light will be yellow. So then let me just do that, and This one will be yellow.
And Jesus, I just want to give you like a 2 minutes warning.
Okay, I'm gonna go super fast here. Thank you for that. And let me just make this one yellow as well. And I think we've been making the other ones 30 pixels. I don't know if I like this one in yellow, to be frank with you, but you know, I'm already committed to it, so I may have to change the yellow to something else. I don't know if I'm liking the yellow, but the point is that there it is. And then we have one more, which is the drops. And the drops, we said we were going to make black. And like, see, this is why I don't think you need to convert these particular layers into a smart object. That there's no need to, because these are vectors, so you can scale them up and down and you won't lose any resolution. So in my opinion, there's no need to make these into smart objects. Maybe if you're applying some sort of filter on top of them, some sort of effect, then maybe, but in this case, that's not necessary. So I wouldn't do that. So anyway, so these are the logos that I have, and this is how I would rework this particular design. Maybe now that, you know, they're just basically these simple shapes, maybe I would increase the width of the stroke maybe a little bit more. There's a couple other things that I would change, but generally speaking, I would keep things more cohesive. I'm not liking the yellow too much, so maybe I would adjust the yellow somehow. But the point is that I wanted to keep things cohesive and follow the original, not the original design, the design that I'm assuming that you downloaded from Adobe stock. Or another way you could have gone about it is to simplify the logos a little bit. So just use 2 colors instead of 3 in some cases, and then change this one to match the other ones. But in this case, I thought that it would be much better to simplify these and make them more minimalistic and, you know, just easier to work with and see.
And unfortunately, I don't know, Susie, if you got anything else to say. I think it's time to get into starting to wrap up, saying goodbye. And do you have anything else to add? I think if
no, I think this is it. We need to
perfect. I'm just gonna jump then into the landing here. And before we say goodbye, I wanted to remind everybody that the fun keeps going. So maybe now that we say goodbye, go and have a glass of water, have a little break, grab a snack.
Yeah.
The fun at Adobe Live keeps going. We have an encore with the magical Voodoo Val on the Photoshop Creative Challenge. And if you literally scroll down just below us, remember, watch on behance.net/live. You're going to be able to go through the entire schedule with more creative challenges. Then Andre Laro, I'm so sorry, and Andre, if I mispronounce your name, in Lightroom, the wonderful Andrew Ocrado with the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge. And I'm going to be back with Andres Santana working on a magazine all about graffiti and Photoshop. Is going to be so much fun, and more fun will come even after that. So make sure to stay tuned. Jesus, I'm going to see you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks. See you everybody in 2 weeks.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody, and submit your work. iamkladi.com/reworkit. We look forward to your artwork. We'll see you then.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.